Can I ask you a few questions about sex toys?
Yeah.
I love them.
Okay. I take it from that response that you own a couple yourself.
Oh, amen, sister, yes.
It's a vibrator.
Let's see if we can turn it on.
Oh, Jesus. Make it stop.
My name's Haylin. I've been teaching sex ed for about 10 years, and one of my areas of expertise and things that I'm most passionate about is helping people lead more pleasurable lives. So if you've never tried sex toys before, I'm gonna tell you exactly where to start. This little guy right here is called the lay wand. You might have seen a version of it called the Hitachi Magic Wand. It shows up a lot in porn, and so when I have people come to shops where I work or ask me questions about what sex toy they should try first, the Hitachi Magic Wand is usually something they talk about. The obvious place for this to go is directly on a clitoris, but if you're super sensitive or just want to warm up other parts of your body first, this kind of vibration can also feel great on nipples, on the perineum, the space between the vagina and the anus. For somebody with a penis, this can actually feel really nice on the frenulum, the little banjo string right underneath the head of the penis. This toy that we have here is not like the Magic Wand. It's rechargeable, which means you don't have to have it plugged into the wall to use it. And it's also a smaller version of a wand-style toy. If you wanted something like this, but not necessarily this specific one, you would just go to a sex shop and tell the person working there that you're looking for a wand-style toy, and they'll know that means something external only that has a really strong motor in it. How much do you think this costs?
Wow. For all the stuff it's doing, I'm just pushing buttons and it's changing up a lot.
Yeah, but it's not that. I mean, like
No, feel it.
It's like an Xbox controller does this. Why don't you get one of
So,
those?
well, an Xbox controller is money.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd say like $25 to $50.
That's so low. These cost at least $150.
What?
They are technically modeled after back massagers, but at this point, I think we all know it's not a back massager. It works much better as a personal massager, as they're euphemistically called. I don't know if you guys can even hear this vibration. It's pretty quiet on the first setting. If somebody were outside of this room or in the apartment next door, they wouldn't be able to hear it. So good if you have nosy neighbors. And even when I crank it up, it's a little bit louder, but it's still on this nice quiet hum. I would put actually right around a 5, maybe even a 4. The bigger ones obviously get stronger, but for a first timer who's just getting started, this can be a really nice way to just experiment with something that vibrates. Basic, standard, classic, external vibrator. I'm guessing you think that butt plugs aren't for you, but they might be. I actually wanted to maybe see if you were open to doing a quick little pop quiz.
Yeah, sure.
What is it, first of all?
I think it's a butt plug.
I think this is probably like a beginner's plug. It looks a little like,
It looks a little chill.
probably like the average, you can handle this.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna ruin your week.
For your humble consideration, a butt plug. This toy is not really much bigger than my finger, and I have very small fingers, so it's probably even smaller than your finger. Noise-wise, this I would call a 1 because it has no motor whatsoever. I know some of you are probably looking at me like this lady is crazy, back door is exit only, but I beg you to potentially reconsider. The cool thing about the SnugPlug in particular is that the way that it's designed is meant to be super comfortable for someone who's just starting out with anal play. And this really small, petite, teeny tiny toy can give a lot of sensation anally, and actually it can also increase sensation from vaginal play because of the wonders of anatomy. Anatomically speaking, the part of your clitoris that you can see from the outside is just the very, very tip. If you imagine it like being a penis, you could only see the actual head of the penis and the rest of the penis was hidden inside the body. On a person with a clitoris, the clitoris actually extends down on either side of the vulva, and for some people, the clitoris actually extends down to pretty close to where the anal opening is, which is one of the reasons why anal sex can be really, really pleasurable, even for somebody who doesn't have a prostate. So if you don't have a prostate and you're like, why would I ever want to put something inside my butt? I have a couple of answers for you. One, it can stimulate the nerve endings that are of the clitoris that are near the anal opening. 2, it can stimulate the very, very sensitive nerves of the anal opening and of the rectum. And 3, because having something inserted anally during vaginal sex can increase the sensations of vaginal sex. The wall between the anus and the vagina is really, really thin. So having something inserted anally, even something pretty small, is gonna make the vagina feel a little bit tighter or more constricted, which isn't just for your partner's benefit, but also for your benefit, because it makes anything inside the vagina feel a little bit bigger too and give more sensation. If you were using a toy like this that vibrated, the vibration would make the whole pelvic floor vibrate, which means your partner would be able to feel it and you would be able to feel it and get even more clitoral stimulation. The one that I'm holding here is the SnugPlug 1, but this toy comes in a bunch of different sizes. So if you're the opposite of the person I was talking to before who saw this and was like, you want me to put that in my butt? It's so small. Don't worry, B5 also has something for you too. Go forth and have an amazing time. I actually have some sex toys in my pockets.
This one like has it all, you know?
You can do a lot with this. And it's like, it seems pretty like straightforward, simple.
But let's talk about maybe a more classic sex toy shape, the rabbits. I put this on my 1 to 10 scale for noise. I would say this is closer to like a 7 or maybe even an 8. This hinge that does the come hither motion seems to be the loudest part of the toy. These rabbits here are not the same thing as the rabbit that you might have heard of on Sex and the City.
Look! Oh, it's so cute! Oh, I thought it would be all scary and weird, but it isn't. It's pink.
Funnily enough, the original rabbit that was referenced on that TV show is actually made of materials that are not safe to put inside of your body. Sex toys are a really poorly regulated industry, and so it's important to know those things before you go in and buy. These rabbits that I have right here are made of medical grade silicone. They're safe to put inside somebody's body, and they also have some features that the original old school rabbit did not have. If you're going to get one of these toys or any other rabbit style toy, I would say expect to pay about $100. You might be able to find rabbit style toys that are cheaper than this, but like I mentioned before, there's a lot of toys on the market that are made with materials that actually aren't very good for your body. You very quickly start to run into compromising on quality as well. This is the California Dreamin' San Francisco Bunny. Talk about why it's called a rabbit, first of all. So the original rabbit, if you've seen pictures of it, you know that it has an internal arm like this, and then it's got this little like bunny ear situation. If this was somebody's vagina, this part of the toy goes inside the vagina, and then this part of the toy is resting on the clitoris. On the classic bunny, when you have the little bunny ears, the idea is that those bunny ears are surrounding the clitoris and giving indirect stimulation. The San Francisco bunny, you can see, has a more kind of fine-tipped point, so that when it's sitting on the clitoris, it's either giving more direct pinpoint stimulation, or depending on how somebody's body is shaped, their clitoris might actually be making contact with this big surface area right here. So first of all, it vibrates. Of course it vibrates. What else does it do? What is this come hither motion? If any of you at home have ever Googled, like, where is my G-spot? How do I learn how to squirt? What does G-spot stimulation feel like? This toy is meant to answer that question. Everybody's body is gonna be really different, and so some people's G-spots are super responsive, super sensitive, and some people's are less so. I would think of it kind of like clitorises. Clitorises are on most people's bodies if they were born with the parts to have a clitoris. But even if you have a clitoris, that doesn't mean that somebody else's clitoris is going to give a good sense of what your clitoris likes. Some people can probably feel their G-spot every time it's being stimulated. For other people, you might have to already be pretty aroused for there to be enough fluid in that area to make it sensitive. But if you want to find out, a toy like this that's really specifically designed to target the G-spot might help you figure out if that's even something that you enjoy. You can crank it up a little bit more. There we go. There's quite a lot going on here. If you want a toy that does something similar but maybe isn't quite as noisy, this is the FemFun Booster Rabbit. This one looks a little bit more realistic, shall we say. The San Francisco Bunny is more curved than the purple toy. This toy actually does a swirling motion, almost like nudging the G-spot on each cycle. And it looks so strange to just look at it outside of the body. This button here at the top is called the turbo button, and the turbo button's a special feature that comes on FemFun toys, where when I push that button, the toy immediately goes to its strongest setting. When it's really like crunch time, you just press it into overdrive. For the volume on this one, I would put it somewhere around a 5, maybe a 5.5. It's definitely quieter than the San Francisco bunny, but if you're in super, super quiet circumstances in a library, you shouldn't be using this in a library. But if you're in super quiet circumstances, someone around you might be able to hear that there's some kind of noise coming from this motor. The turbo mode is loud. What do you think of this as a first time toy? For you or for somebody else?
I think it could do it. I think it's like you can do a lot with this.
I think there are butt plugs out there
That would ruin
my week.
That checks out, yeah.
Like to try one?
Now? I'll do it for Cosmo.
Oh, that's sweet.
For Cosmo.
Are you broke? Girl, me too. Good news, you don't need a lot of money to invest in your pleasure. Next week I'm gonna be talking about all the best and cheapest sex toys, so don't forget to tune in.